To have our next guest on. He's been a guest multiple times. He's got a new film out. He's got multiple films out. He's got a great podcast. Please welcome from Forbidden Knowledge News, Chris Mathieu. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Sam. Thank you so much for having me back on. I am so ready to get weird today. Let's do it.
Yeah, you've grown your hair out.
I have.
Like it.
It represents the vibe, man.
Yeah, you got a coast-to-coast vibe. I'm liking it. It's really nice. Explain your background real quick. What's going on behind you?
A collection of high strange items that I've accumulated over the years, and it's just on display right there. And oh yeah, Illuminati confirmed, by the way, the checkerboard. So
yeah, there you go. That will happen. Oh,
Yep.
It's like getting ridiculous. Hear the new thing on the internet about me? I have lip filler.
Which one? Which one?
Lip filler?
Yeah. Sam uses lip filler. I'm like, dude, please stop. I do not have DSLs at all.
No. That's not even a good look for guys. Guys don't want to
Why would you do that as a man?
That doesn't make any sense.
Why would you do that as a woman?
I think you'd rather be controlled opposition, right?
Yeah, for sure. So nuts. The internet is out of control. Did you see I posted that video, that crowd work about SpaceX?
Oh, yeah, with Elon?
Oh,
they went,
they still going nuts. They're still going nuts.
It's weird. I don't understand, because you're right. It seems like they're bots, but I mean, they must be using AI, right? Because I get with the Asian thing, it's a bunch of people with no followers who were just calling me a white pig and stuff.
Yeah.
Who is that?
You are a white pig.
Who are those people though that are coming into the thread?
Who are these people?
So, do you think it's like a foreign adversary who's trying to stir up dissent in the country?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I think about that a lot. Like, or it's giant corporations.
Could be. Yeah.
You know, like if we'll get back to the show, but if you go into if you're going after SpaceX and you have an employee saying we didn't go to space, that's not good.
Could be Twitter doing it then, Elon.
Right. Well, 100%. I guarantee if you bring up Elon or bring up SpaceX, you get pounded on.
And wait, before, are bots expensive, Johnny? Like a bot farm?
I mean, a bot farm? I mean, however much it costs to hire a bunch of Chinese people.
That's what
I'm sure it was expensive before AI.
Yeah, now it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, no one talks about that. All the bot farm employees
they lost their jobs
because nobody talks about that. But Chris, for those who are not familiar with your last couple appearances, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, I am host and producer of Forbidden Knowledge News, founder of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, where we feature over a dozen other podcasts and content creators. Some you might be very familiar with, like Raised by Giants, Day Zero. We feature Legit Bat, a few others. And I have made 2 films. First one is Occult, Louisiana. That one is available on Tubi and multiple other streaming platforms. That one came out about 2 years ago. And just a couple of months ago, Doors of Perception was released on Amazon Prime. That's where you can find that one right now. If you want to go check that out, we'd really appreciate it. And it should be available on the other streaming platforms within a couple of months. And we are now making films, continuing with the podcast thing. Blessed to be able to do this on a daily basis and make a living.
Tech is getting weird, bro. I'm telling you, the tech is getting weird.
That's weird. That was weird.
It's everywhere now, dude. I'm telling you, this is the slow rollout. I'm telling you right now, they're slow rolling out, controlling the internet, and you're just seeing glitches here and there. It's coming. So, Chris, what I love about you is that you're in Louisiana, you're doing your thing.
I'm in Colorado now. Was in Louisiana.
Oh, when did you move?
I moved a few years ago. I just went back to Louisiana. I was born and raised there, lived there most of my life. Then I moved to Colorado in 2020. Went back to film the movie, but I live in Colorado now.
Oh, that's nice. That's great.
Yeah.
Why'd you get out of Louisiana?
Oh, it was just not the right. It was not the right type of energy for me. For what I was trying to do, there was very little creative outlets. And when I first started waking up, it was almost impossible to try and get information across, especially I started waking up in 2012. and trying to talk to friends and family members about some of the stuff that I was getting into is almost impossible. I was almost kicked out of my family, thought I was a crazy man. So that, and I just always wanted to move out to the mountains. Something called me out here. It's beautiful out here, and the energy in Louisiana is very dense and kind of low vibe at times. So I find the energy out here much more uplifting.
Well, I love it, man. I wish I could move like you just all the time, just constantly be moving. That'd be great. So we're living in crazy times right now. You know, there's a spiritual battle going on. Everyone's got an opinion on it. And it gets kind of overwhelming at times to try to decide what is the truth. And the question is there a truth? Is there one truth? Is there multiple truths? Are there multiple realities where there's multiple truths? Like, what is your whole thoughts on that? Like, where we live and all that, and like, what religion's right? It's really a crazy time right now. We have more information than ever, and I don't know if that's good because they can't control it, so they flooded it, and that's what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah. Well, this is what my journey has been about, trying to figure out all those questions that you were just throwing out there. And I will be honest, I have no answers. I have more questions. The more I learn, the more questions I have. I have much deeper understandings than I did when I first started, and I have a much more powerful spiritual connection to what you would call God. I have a connection to Christ again, which I didn't have before. I had several very powerful spiritual contact experiences. But my understanding so far is this is an experiential realm. We are here to learn and grow and experience and grow our consciousness. We are the experiential arms, our feelers, our eyes, or everything of what you would call God or source. And the information we process and learn here in this realm gets sent to that mainframe, which you would call God or whatever your term is that you use. And it continues to learn from our experiences here. And I think the good, the bad, the indifferent, everything in this realm is meant for us to learn and process from. And there is a argument and a consideration for me if there has been some sort of parasitic infiltration into our consciousness, some sort of spiritual parasite that has tipped the scales in a sense, and that is why our realm is so inverted and backwards right now, and we are experiencing the things we have and have been for thousands and thousands of years. That is debatable, whether that parasitic influence is the cause of our human condition or if it is just based on this. If that is the case, like in the Matrix, they tried to make a paradise, but we weren't having it, so they had to add a little strife and conflict in there for us to enjoy ourselves. But I think it's more about learning from it, because if we only knew the good and the positive and love and light, we wouldn't be good teachers for anything else. If that's the case, if we're supposed to learn and grow and then pass that information on, maybe it's some kind of cosmic school, and once we graduate, we get to teach other cosmic beings how to experience things. But again, I have no answers. I have some fun considerations. I get to talk to the most amazing people every day for my job and learn from them every day, and it's a blessing to be able to do so. But I will say that I am grateful to have been able to make that spiritual connection again through doing this, through conspiracies, through studying all these high strangeness and paranormal and everything I have been interested in. And that's where I'm at so far.
It's super interesting, Johnny. I was watching this video where this atheist was debating D'Souza, who drives me nuts now.
Dinesh D'Souza, yeah.
Yeah, I liked him at first when he was doing all the cameras, and then I listened to him debate Nick Fuentes, who I would love to get on the show. If
Is he
it's
an atheist? I didn't know that.
Who?
Nick Fuentes?
No.
No. He was okay. I crossed the streams there. I watched D'Souza debate another in another debate with an atheist.
Okay.
Last night I watched him debate Nick Fuentes, and I thought he just got his lady dick kicked in.
Nick Fuentes is
Yeah, I mean, and
formidable in a
Nick
debate.
Fuentes. Here's the problem: it's like when you're like, and Nick Fuentes obviously is been shadow banned to the dark realm, so I don't know if I would call him mainstream at all. But he's still kind of in that world where what data are they going to use and what data they're not going to use, and just the neocon talking points that D'Souza's using. But D'Souza was debating in this other debate. The reason I bring up the Nick Fuentes stuff is because I just lost all respect for D'Souza after that. It's like more Zionist, just throw up. That is just complete bullshit.
Yeah, he's from a different time.
Yeah, and it's like, and Nick Fuentes brought up all what he said about the Iraq War, which is exactly what he's saying about the Iran War. And he's like, we learned. It's like, shut up, dude.
Yeah.
But the atheist, the atheist is debating D'Souza, and he brought up the thing in the Bible where the Bible is talking about, take slaves. And I just want to give you your flowers, Johnny, because I think you're totally right in that it was. Listen, I understand that the Bible, as we're told, is the word of God, right? But it is written by man. And I said this in a recovery meeting the other day. Everything you hate about God is probably the actions of man and not the actions of God. And so you're totally right on that. It was written in a time where everybody had a slave. Even slaves had slaves, right? So I found that very interesting. But again, going back into bringing it back to here, it's like, who knows what the rules are? I mean, you just you try to understand the rules, and it just seems to be like love is the rule.
I think you have to feel your way through. That's what the Holy Spirit thing is. It's like that's the thing that kind of guides you to the truth.
And these things like sin, like if you go through all the sins, and I go through it in life, obviously I don't murder and I don't steal. But we put all that other stuff aside. I'm like, yep, ruin my life. Gluttony, lust, ruin my life.
Yeah, none of that shit's good for you on that
right?
list. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like you could have your problems with religion, but these rules are really rules about, energy.
Even the weird old dietary laws, if you think about them in a modern context, it's probably had something to do with germs, and like burying contaminated plates and stuff. How do you explain that to people who don't know about microbes, So you tell them to bury contaminated plates. And
so I saw in one of your notes that you sent a higher self, and I think about that all the time. Anybody listening here in the room, listening at your podcast, I want you to think of your most embarrassing moment where you're like, oh, if your mom heard about that, she'd be so upset. And I'm sure some of ours are worse than others. Right? We're not talking murder. We're not talking any of that stuff. We're talking about just your moment of deviousness, right? When you had this moment of weakness and you did some deviant shit. And then you kind of start to think did you have a higher self that was controlling you at that moment? Like they were playing Grand Theft Auto and they just made you go do this weird ass shit. And you're like, oh, dude, someone was controlling you at that point.
Mine was so bad where I literally saw the devil and the angel, where the devil's telling me, keep going. And then the angel's like, no, you shouldn't. But I'm like, but this is what I want to do.
You saw that?
No, I literally pictured in my head, it was don't do it.
So you were on drugs?
No, I was actually sober, but I was drunk. But I remember doing this thing where it was, I'll say it it was drinking and driving. I knew I shouldn't have driven.
Okay.
But it was to go get pussy.
Okay.
And in my brain was go.
No, I get
And then my conscience don't. And then it was a moment that my mom would be like, dude, for embarrassing that you almost got a DUI, risk people's life over
ass.
Yeah. But I had those two, to do it, to don't do it.
But I think about that, at your most devious moment, your higher self is like, let's see how this goes, right? Like when you're controlling Grand Theft Auto, you're like, let's run over the hooker.
That sounds like possession almost. I mean, that's
in a weird way. So when you get into higher self, what are we talking about here?
So for me, this is based on my experiences and my understanding. I have made what you would consider contact with what I understand as a higher self, or you could say spirit guide, or your purest self, your purest connection to source. Others call it different things, but I'll explain the first experience that got me in contact with this so you can have a better understanding. And the way I see it now is it's something that everyone has. If you wouldn't be here. It is maybe what could be considered an oversoul. And it communicates with you your entire life. It's your conscious. It's exactly like you were saying, that little voice that says, no, don't do that. That was a stupid move. Maybe you should have done something differently. And I understand that that has been speaking to me my entire life, but now I can immediately recognize that. And it's not as if it's something separate from yourself, although for me, the communication comes through as it would be like psychic communication from a separate entity. The way it came through, the way it first started was in 2020. I was doing Forbidden Knowledge News, but it was not my career at the time. I had no idea how to turn that into a career. It was just a fun hobby at the time. I was working at a corporate sales job that I really did not like. It was a rough period in my life, and I was going through a breakup, all kind of nonsense that I was going through. But deep down, I really wanted to turn this show into something, to be able to make it into a career and do something that I was passionate about creatively. And I had all these doubts and all this programming that, you get growing up, that, you can't do certain you can only do certain jobs. If you try and do something creative, you might fail. All these things that many of us are programmed to believe. And at this time it was 2020, and we were just hearing about the COVID operation starting to kick off. We had really no idea what was happening. It was kind of chaotic, and there was a lot of fear going around. And I was in a bad place. I came home from my job. At the time, I was starting to do more spiritual shows. I started out looking at UFOs a lot of paranormal and mainstream conspiracy stuff. I wasn't really getting into the deeper spiritual consciousness connections and how everything fits together yet. And this one evening, I came home from work, and I was also getting into talking about meditation on my show and trying it very unsuccessfully most of the time. This one evening, though, I get home from my job and I decide I'm going to meditate. I'm going to take the advice of a few people that I've been speaking with, maybe use some 432 hertz tones, see what'll happen there. Before I can go inside to do that, though, I don't know if this is connected. It's just an interesting synchronicity that occurred. I look up and I see this, what I can only describe as UFO. It's 3 bright orange flames in the sky that were slowly moving up and then kind of blipped out of existence, disappeared. But it was something that I had never seen before, but I just kind of marked it as interesting. Still don't know if
in Louisiana?
This was in Louisiana at the time.
Where
yes.
did you live in Louisiana? Like, how would you describe the city or town you lived in?
It was about 45 minutes south of New Orleans, but in a very rural, swampy type area.
That's where
the areas you see in those horror movies.
Yes, that I really do believe the smaller the town, the more stuff you see. I really do believe it.
Oh, maybe it's nothing. Market is interesting. So I go inside and I attempt to do a meditation, and I was actually very successful by utilizing these tones and other techniques that I was taught, breathing techniques. And the way it went down was I was in a very peaceful state, very still. I cut out as much thought and chatter as I could. And in my subconscious vision, it was just blackness. It was just darkness, but it was very peaceful and relaxing. And next thing I know, in my subconscious vision, I can see this blue light manifesting. And as the blue light manifests, I feel love like I have never felt before. It was like some kind of love drug. And I thought I knew what love felt like. This was something that was so undeniable. It was like a fraction of what you feel, the love of your mother or father or spouse. It was that times 1,000. And this blue light was getting brighter and brighter. And I just was overcome with this love feeling. And then something spoke telepathically to me. It was very kind and benevolent sounding. It said, "Hello, and would you like to speak?" And I freaked out. I grew up Catholic, had a lot of residual dogma at the time. I said, "In the name of Jesus Christ, are you a demon?" And I sensed that whatever this was kind of laughing, but in a loving way. And at the same time, before I could even finish asking that question, it said, "No, I am of Christ. I am benevolent," things of that nature. And I was just immediately put at ease. And this communication was, what's that?
It was just a blue light?
That all I could perceive was this blue light in my subconscious vision, but the communication was undeniable. Well, I wasn't talking to myself. This was something else that I'd never experienced before. And it asked if we could have a conversation, and the communication was instantaneous. It was probably the easiest way that I've ever communicated with anything. Before I could even finish a thought, it had an answer that was processing through my mind. And it wasn't like it was regular speech. It was a combination of emotions and images and just knowing whatever this was speaking. And it was extremely profound. And it asked if I'd like to have a conversation because it said it had been with me my whole life and it's time for me to get to know it. And it has some information if I would be willing to receive it because it would be beneficial on my journey. So I was like, yeah, I was calmed down at that point, didn't think it was a demon anymore. And I realized that I had actually popped out of my meditative state and was standing up and was still communicating with this being. I was no longer actively meditating, but yet still communicating with something. I asked if it had a name. It said, "Just call me whatever you want. The names doesn't really matter." So
What'd you call
immediately, I called it Laird. It just popped into my head. It's the name of one of my cousins I had growing up. I thought it was a cool name. Laird.
Laird. You had a cousin named Laird?
What's that?
You had a cousin named Laird?
I did, yes.
That is, have you ever heard that name before?
Yeah, Laird Hamilton, the famous surfer.
Oh, have you heard of that?
No.
I've never heard of it.
It was a unique name, so it just kind of popped up.
All right, Laird.
Yeah, so I'm speaking with Laird,
cool?
this blue light.
Was it cool? Was it like, okay, I'll go with Laird. That's
He changed his mind. He's like,
yeah,
actually, no, you
that's
can't
all
call
you
me
got?
anything.
That's all you got? Okay, Laird, fine.
I mean, whatever.
He's gonna go back to the other high beams. Like, dude, the guy named me Laird.
He was cool with it.
Okay.
So we continued to have our conversation, and it said that I was about to experience profound changes, not only in my life, but there would be very profound changes on the planet, and I needed to prepare myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. And some of the main points it started to just throw at me was, you need to heal childhood trauma. You've got some residual muck and emotions, and you're getting into shitty relationships, toxic relationships, crazy women, all this bad stuff. And it was, relaying all these things that I was basically fucking up in my life. I was just dumbfounded. It was things I didn't want to hear at all. Never thought I'd be hearing it from this random voice that popped in my head. And then it said, you need to quit your job and do what you're really passionate about. Do this show. And that was the thing that terrified me most, more than healing childhood trauma or any of that stuff, because I had no idea how I was going to do that. And it was pretty incredible. This voice continued to communicate for a couple of hours, telling me things that I can do to get better at what I was doing, to have a stronger spiritual connection, things that I should start looking to people that I'm close with that I should maybe have more conversations with. It was such a profound experience, but I still, in that moment, didn't know what was happening, didn't know if I was having an acid flashback or just going crazy or something. And eventually, after a couple hours, the communication just wasn't there. I wasn't able to perceive it anymore. It was like slowly fading, and I couldn't understand it. And then it was just gone. And I didn't know what to do with that. So I had to recreate. I had to do it again, because if I wouldn't have, I would have just thought it was just a moment of insanity. And I tried for days and days until one day I did. And I actually did this in the bathtub, because I don't know why, something intuitively told me to do it in water. And it was such a powerful experience. I was able to achieve that meditative state extremely fast. The intelligence came through, layered, appeared very quickly, and started showing me a vision of a very traumatic childhood experience that I had completely forgot about, and just brought it to me. It was a very...
Now you say you forgot about it, but when you saw it, you remembered it?
I remembered it. It was something I had blocked out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a very emotional moment. After that, I start to ask, what are you? Who are you? What is going on? And
what was the
said,
trauma?
well, it was just a very negative experience that I had at a childhood family friend's house. Abusive experience with, a family
I got
friend.
molested by Larry Watts.
Yeah, well, it was something along those lines, actually. So it was a pretty traumatic
I got
experience.
felt up. That's what it was.
Yeah. So we go through that, and then after I kind of relived that experience, I asked, who are you? What are you? And the next bits were kind of blurry, and I don't remember everything that was said. I'll tell you what I do remember. It said, we reach out to those that are seeking Christ consciousness, that are ready to receive it. I said, that's wonderful. All right. And then I started getting a vision of these beings that were, they looked in my vision like animal human hybrids in robes, but they were kind of cartoonish looking. And I will tell you my understanding of why they appeared this way, but they were all beaming this incredible love. They asked if I was ready to fulfill my requested mission in this incarnation, or something along those lines. It was such a beautiful experience, and they were basically asking me if I was ready to pull up my big boy pants and do what I'm supposed to do here on this planet. And they again started giving me more information on how to proceed. The most profound experience I've ever had in my life. It was a confirmation that there was something happening here. And one of the oddest things that they suggested was, if I wanted to speed along the process of healing my childhood trauma and rewire those negative connections in my brain, psilocybin is the way to go. Now, the last time I did mushrooms was like a teenager, and the experiences were terrifying. That was the last thing that I would ever think of. But I was like, okay, psilocybin, whatever. And they were like, quit your job. Quit your job.
Dude, this is an interesting being, dude. I mean,
well, I understand it's just me. It was me, it's like future me reaching out, guiding myself.
Listen, what if you got the druggy guy, the druggy guardian angel, though, like the deadbeat guardian angel?
Well, it doesn't surprise me looking at my background, man. So.
What if you got the guy that like runs everything's kid, and he just got the job because
he'd be homeless if it wasn't for his dad? Yeah, right. Totally.
Yeah, he just wanted to get high again.
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting because, I've told this story before on the show, but one of the big moments in my life is at the beginning of this show, in the early year, I'd say. Ryan, off the grid Ryan, which people ask me where he is. I haven't heard from him forever. This has gone longer than last time.
Grid, yeah.
He really is off the grid.
Well, you thought he was joking when he first called himself that, or who did you give him that nickname?
Probably.
Sam, I would imagine.
Yeah,
that's what I
Sam
do.
brings the nicknames. Yeah,
That's what I do. I'm nicknamed Triplet.
Well, you nailed this one. I mean,
So-
you
You
nailed
you just
it.
gave yourself a nickname. That's great.
So, the show was taking off, and we started getting new fans. This guy that made Joey Diaz mushroom chocolates sent us a bunch of mushroom chocolates, and I decided to take them and go to the K-Rock Weenie Roast, Acoustic Christmas, and I took one, and then I ate another one because I'm a alcoholic, and I can't have enough, and so I took the second one. And then I just remember hearing this voice, clear as day, go, "Don't worry about anything. You're exactly where you need to be." And and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I stopped right there. I was like, holy shit, I needed to hear that. And I've never worried about my career since then.
Where are these shrooms at?
I mean, dude, this was like 7-8 years ago.
They sound like life changing.
Well, they did. Because, the big thing, you see this in like, especially people in Hollywood where it's like, Tony Hinchcliffe, I talk about it. He used to have day shift stripper eyes where it's just like, man, how's this going to end, dude? And then you kind of get to this place and now you're calm, you're chill, everything's good. And you just see this weight come out of your eyes. So it did change my life. And it's allowed me to accept my path compared to when I compared myself to the people I were around, people I put on the path, So yeah, I get this, dude. I get all that.
Yeah,
I get all
and
that.
I owe everything to actually taking that advice, quitting my job, moving to Colorado where synchronistically mushrooms were legal to grow, legal to use on your own. And that's what I started doing. I had myself a little mushroom farm, and
You grow mushrooms?
I do. I am on a hiatus temporarily, too busy with all kind of other stuff, but I have been growing mushrooms for a few years, yes. But that's what I did. And man, the experiences were wild. I'll just say that.
It's interesting because, and this is a really deep conversation that I think goes into like what I see society and culture pushing on people, is like this desire and drive to go against your own will, to go against your own body. What am I saying? Your wiring, your natural drive, right? Like people are being pushed to kind of go into this direction that isn't, I believe, their calling. And that is where anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, all that stuff that comes into it. Like, and again, it's like I say all the time, it's simple versus easy. And like going off on this path where you feel like, it's like when we see the blue-haired feminists, do they ever look happy? Ever?
No.
Like you always want to see, like, if you want to take life advice from somebody, look at them and tell me, are they happy?
Such a good point.
Do they have a positive energy vibe?
Or are they walking around in a state of permanent offense?
Where are they always miserable? And that is that's how they feel something, is by getting offended. And the answer is most of these people aren't. They're angry at life. And again, listen, I had friends of mine who were on medication, schizophrenia. We can get into maybe schizophrenia is something totally different that we're just, society has decided not to try to understand it. We have two people on the show right now talking about hearing voices. And now we take the people who hear voices and we throw them away.
Yeah.
But you have this voice inside you telling you to do something and you'd go against it. And that's where the misery comes from. I really do believe that is going against your natural calling.
100%. I was so depressed. The time period before I quit my job was awful to an extent where I would wake up and not want to stay awake. I just want to go back to sleep. I absolutely loathed every moment of loathed what I was doing because it was a toxic job where I was trying to sell grandma phones she couldn't even afford and all these, things that you do at a sales job. But after that experience, when when I made contact with this higher self, the days at work got so awful. It was like things started to happen. Either I started to become aware of things that were so much worse that I didn't even realize before, or the universe started throwing more things at me that would make it extremely difficult to stay working at that job at that time. We got a new manager that was a complete dick, all these new policies. Then COVID hits and we have to wear a mask at work every day. And then that was probably one of my final straws where I was like, no, I took out my 401k and just jetted out to Colorado on a wing and a prayer. And it was pretty incredible how everything progressed. I was terrified. The podcast wasn't making any money when we got out there, but within about 6 months, I was busting ass doing 6-7 shows a week, trying to get sponsors and promote everything and working my ass off. And then within about 6 months, I check the revenue and it's like, holy shit, I can pay rent this month. And then a couple of months go by, I can pay rent and eat this month. And it kept getting better. So it was, pretty
Build
incredible.
it and they will come.
Yes, sir.
And, it's like, I say this all the time, but it's like when you trade in a 9 to 5, you end up getting a 24/7. But there's something freeing about being your own boss. There's a lot of different pressure and it's all the time, but it just becomes part of who you are. So it's like when they say this thing, when you take a job somewhere with a company, a corporations, they're basically paying you to give up your dreams. Here's the money to give up your dreams. Now, this is not negative to anybody who has a great job out there. They're happy at their work. I'm very, if you are happy, do your thing. But if you have this calling coming, you might want to look into it. And it's just like, I would rather fail than never try. It's much easier to say, hey, yeah, I tried it. I sucked at it. That's a freeing thing,
I 100%, but I also got to play like devil's advocate because sometimes I see my friends, and we'll go on vacation, and they just get the check. They don't got to creative content. They don't come out with the T-shirt because you know how it is here. We got to book someone.
Right.
We gotta make merch. We gotta sell tickets. They just go to work, and the check lands, and they don't care as long as they show up and they don't harass no one or get called by HR.
No, I get it.
And I'm a little, sometimes I'm like, that's not as bad as it sounds. Because then they look at me and they're like, yours sounds fun when you're 21, but as a 30-year-old, 32.
Well, yeah, because you're going to raves and doing drugs with 22-year-old chicks.
No.
That tends to be a 20-year-old thing. But as you grow, listen, I'm not saying you're not wrong. There is something about conforming to that. And I know in that word tends to have negative connotations, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, my biggest issue with working for somebody else is they can decide like this, you no longer work there.
Yeah.
That is it. And you see that happening a lot with older employees. They build the company up and then the company thinks, oh, we can save a couple bucks here. We're going to go in a different direction. And again, teachers, working in offices. Like, I love everybody. If you're happy, you do it. It's just, I learned this when Tommy, the old booker at the Comedy Store. That guy put his heart and soul into the Comedy Store for 13 years. Yeah, they caught him doing some shady shit, and that was the excuse to fire him. But when they fired him, his entire life work was gone. Oh. And I always learn that. I go, oh man, I'm never gonna put all my eggs into somebody else's basket. And I'm not saying that some people are just built different. Yeah. Like my best friend from high school has been graphic designer at this college for got to be going on 30 years. God bless him. God bless him.
Well, I think some people are just built for that kind of life.
100%. Yeah. There are, and it's just like, who are you and what are you and what do you want to do? Are you
miserable? Yeah, because I mean, when I worked that kind of schedule, I was just miserable.
Oh, around like 8.
Would you have ever guessed that about Xavier?
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, I would have said 10, 11 guy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Go to the gym.
But now like at a gym, you got a job, you're getting up, it's 5:36. Yeah.
Like Johnny lives that lifestyle. I know Johnny.
Well, Johnny goes to bed at 5:30.
Yeah.
But going back to it's like, I'm going to be honest with you. you know, you have a different vibe this time when you're on the show. You have a very different vibe, and it's shown that you've kind of broken through on some stuff.
Oh, definitely, man. I have done some very rigorous spiritual work, very rigorous just work into the show, trying to, like the movie, for example. This was an experiment for me. This was for me to push myself to see if I could do this, to see if I could get a film on a streaming platform. And yes, it was the things that I was interested in. It was my passion went into it, but the expectation of what would happen was pretty much up in the air. And I just wanted to push myself to see if I would be able to do it.
What is the name of this movie?
The first film was Occult, Louisiana,
Right.
the forbidden documentary Occult, Louisiana. I came on I think it was maybe a year and a half ago on this show to talk about that one. And and I was able to break through, like you said, doing lots of meditation, lots of introspective work, and utilizing the psilocybin and psychedelics, not for a party sense, not to have fun in any way, in a very meditative, structured, spiritual, ceremonial sense. And most of those experiences were not fun at all. They were very tough work. I had to, quote unquote, face my demons and go into a lot of things that I never thought I would be reliving or looking into, and do a lot of healing through a lot of that process. But the beautiful thing about that was I didn't realize, after I got through the tough work of healing and getting through the muck and trauma, the experiences after that were just like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I would get to learn all this incredible stuff, meet with these celestial entities, have these strange out-of-body and time travel experiences. And there is one of the most profound experiences I ever had I'd like to share with you guys, because I think you and the audience would appreciate it. And it involves an ex-girlfriend that shapeshifts into a reptilian.
What?
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
We're in.
Yes, please.
All right. So this was about 2.5 years ago.
Is this a Louisiana chick?
No.
Okay.
I'm in Colorado at this time. And I had already able to convert the business into something that I was doing full time. It was the podcast, and I had not started my first film yet. And I'm married now, happily married with a wonderful, beautiful woman. Shout out to my wife, Jennifer. But a couple of years ago, I was with this other chick that we were together through a mutually kind of beneficial relationship, and we were living together, which was a huge mistake, but you know, she was hot, yada yada. So we're together, and I am actually rigorously having these psilocybin experiences, trying to do these healing journeys and things of that nature. She is a quote unquote psychic medium healer type person, but she's never done psychedelics of any kind, and she's expressed interest. She would like to try this. So I said, sure, we're going to have an experience together. So I dose her, not too much, just a couple of grams.
Liquid acid or
no, only psilocybin. I only natural, baby, no acid. So we the mushrooms, magic mushrooms. So I dose her a couple of grams of mushrooms, and I take my usual. I think I'm taking like 3 or 4 grams at this time for every session. And I'm doing this about once a month. I'm not frying my brain every day with this stuff. So we go in, and I am having an experience. I'm feeling the psilocybin, but she's not. It's like an hour and a half in, and she says she doesn't feel anything. And this is red flag number 1. I'm
Dangerous
like, what's going on here?
Every
No, that she 2 hours,
when
3
you're
hours
doing
ago, she doesn't.
psychedelics and you say, I don't feel anything, and then somebody gives you more drugs.
This is exactly what happened. I gave her about 5 grams total and nothing. Like even 2 or 3 hours in, she's like, no, I'm kind of sleepy. I don't feel it. And I am off my rocker. So
And what's funny is sometimes you do get sleepy. You get the yawns, but it's because it's about to kick in.
Yeah.
That's like
yeah, but she's no, not at all.
that's something. I mean, you hear about gurus like Neem Karoli Baba. I think was handed a bunch of acid by Ram Dass, and it didn't. He pretended that he was losing his mind temper, and then he just kind of pulled it and laughed at him. It's like, dude, it doesn't. I live like this all the time. So I wonder if this is maybe similar.
Well, you should hear the rest of the story
Well,
before you
okay.
come to any
But-
conclusions
All
here.
right, I'm in.
All right, so I am off my rocker. She suggests, oh, well, hey, why don't we do a little regression therapy for you while you're in this state? And I'm like, you stupid. Yeah, sure, why not? So she proceeds to do this kind of regression therapy, trying to locate childhood trauma, and that experience was fine. It seemed like it was cool to me, and it was after this that things took a turn. We're having a conversation. We've got this, weird classical music playing in the background, and she's talking to me, and all of a sudden she's saying something that just doesn't click right with me. And this is what I hear her say. She says, I found you. I helped you get where you are. I thought we were in love, but I'm getting the sense that you don't need me anymore. You're going to leave me, and you don't love me anymore. And as she said that, I shit you not, what I saw is her shapeshift into a reptilian with yellow eyes, big yellow teeth. She even grew a couple of feet taller.
What?
She's like 6 foot tall. She was in my ex-girlfriend's like nightie, and it's a reptilian being, and it's like, you don't love me anymore? Dude, I ran. Like, I took off. I'm running to my basement, and I hear these footsteps behind me, and this being like, you don't love me anymore? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I run downstairs to my basement, and I'm like, all right, so this is the first time someone has overdosed on mushrooms. I'm in hell, and that's the only explanation. I don't know. I've never had such a vivid hallucination.
And this
never
is
seen
why we have
anything like
locks
this.
on gun safes, by the way.
Yes.
This is exactly why you have a lock on a gun safe.
Yes.
So, dude, all right. So then next, my entire house turns into like a dungeon. I look outside and the sky is like blood red. I've got these dingy bars that appeared on my windows. I'm completely freaking out. I run back upstairs and I'm trying to like look around the corner, see if there's a reptilian that I can avoid. And I run into my room and I don't know what to do. I jump in the shower and just turn on water and I'm like, oh God, what is happening? So I just said, I'm going to pray. I started praying, and before I could even finish, oh God, I felt this rumbling like in my chest and stomach, and this voice, loud commanding voice, says, you are being deceived. And I puked up this black, oily goo stuff, bro, down into the drain, and it felt like the room shook and everything snapped back to normal. It was like no more dungeon. I felt okay. I didn't even feel scared anymore. I felt like there was something like protecting me or something. And I walk out, and my ex-girlfriend is there again, not a reptilian. And she's like, what the hell just happened? What is going on? And I was like, I'm going to go to bed. I'll tell you later. I grabbed a bottle of wine and just started downing it. I was like, I don't know. But this is tie everything together. The following days and weeks, I started noticing a persona about her that she was either not displaying before, or again, I did not see before. Very manipulative, cold, dark, maybe you could say reptilian-like personality that started to show itself, and she was just plain evil after that experience. And my understanding of this is my mushroom showed me something about who she really is, or maybe she's a reptilian. I don't know. I doubt that. But my perception is maybe it was psychically showing me that this person has some nastiness inside her, and maybe that's what kind of came out of that experience, because, bro, after that, she was a completely different person, and I would compare her personality to reptilian.
That's crazy. I think your shrooms were laced with methamphetamine.
No, man, I grew them myself. I only put meth in every other month's dose.
So it's interesting. So the next day, what did she say? Why'd you think I was a reptilian?
She did, and I just kind of avoided everything. I was like, I was tripping. I was going crazy. It's all right. It's all right. And it took a while for me to just understand the progression of things and how she started to display that behavior. But I mean, within a day or two, I was like, oh, there's something going on here. And then eventually I had to kick her out and broke up with. So
On it, reptilian.
Out of here.
that's it.
Reptile clothes and go.
You got to watch out for those reptile girls.
It reminds me of like every time I used to
She
watch.
was stacked too when she shapeshifted.
Oh, she got
was
bigger
still stacked.
reptilian tits?
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me every time I would watch like the Incredible Hulk and he would expand, but his pants stayed on.
Yes, yeah, totally. Yeah.
She grew into this giant lizard, but somehow the 90s still fit.
Yeah, somehow they still conform to what censorship required of the times. That's
We
funny.
can't see green dong on the show. Lou Ferrigno's giant hammer.
What if everything got bigger, but his wiener just stayed the same?
Oh,
That
so
would-
he's like Shaq?
yeah, that would be terrible.
That would be hilarious.
You suck.
Yeah, that would suck. So you seem like you have some experiences. Word on the streets, you had sleep paralysis.
Yeah. So this was a long time ago. Well,
Johnny,
I was
that happened
about-
to you too, right?
If I sleep during the day, I get it. I don't get any weird entities or anything, but just kind of trapped in, feel locked in, for a bit.
Okay, so let's hear about your.
yeah,
sleep.
this was in. Oh man, I was like 25, and This was during my first marriage, and it was right.
How many
around-
times you been married?
This is my second time, so
Congratulations.
thank you, sir. We're gonna try and keep it at number 2 there.
Yeah, that'd be much better.
Yeah. So first wife was right before we decided to get a divorce. Things are really not bad, really bad in my life, and I can't sleep at night. So I tried to nap during the day, like on my lunch break or on my days off from work. And every time I would get into this state where I'd be falling asleep and almost there, everything feels like tingly, like it's vibrating, and I feel stuck. And I can still perceive slightly out of my vision. I can still kind of see my eyes are slightly closed, but I can't move. And all of a sudden, I start feeling presences. I feel these shadow, I can perceive out the corner of my eye these shadow people that either peek inside my door or they're walking around, and it's not just one or two. It's like a shadow people party in the next room. And each time it's like they get a little bit closer and a little bit closer, and there'll be one entity that enters the room walking towards my bed, and then the next time there'll be 2 of them walking towards my bed. And this went on for months until actually after I started to feel better, after the divorce was over, after I got a lot of the stress out of my life, it stopped. But the last few experiences were crazy because they really ramped up. Bunch of shadow people just kind of barging in, surrounding me very menacingly. And the feeling is like these things are not good. They're not pleasant. And then I start hearing this extremely loud banging noise coming from my ceiling, above my ceiling fan. And it'd get louder and less. Sounds like someone was trying to break through my ceiling. And the last time that happened, I really expected a shadow person to fall out of my ceiling and fall on top of me, but it didn't. And I busted through, and that was the last time that it happened. That's the last experience I remember. But I don't know. I don't know if it's correlated to stress or whatever, but that's I was definitely
What
in a
did you
bad
feel?
state.
How did it feel?
It felt like a kind of tingly sensation at first, like your whole body's kind of tingling, and then you notice that you can't move.
And you're
You
trying
still-
to move?
Trying to move, definitely trying to move everything. You're still conscious, but it's almost like, I don't know if you've ever been aware of the state when you about to fall asleep and you kind of like jerk awake.
Yeah.
That feeling right before you jerk awake is like what I felt, but in a paralyzed state.
Have you, Sam? So you've never had sleep paralysis ever?
No, but I mean, my big problem lately is that I can't fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I go right to bed and then I'll just lay in this kind of like in between sleep and being awake.
Yeah, I know what
Where
you're
like time's flying, but I'm still like I'm
bad rest though. You're not refreshed.
Yeah.
in that state. Sleep
Your REM
paralysis. See,
sleep-
for me, if I sleep during the day often or with lights on in the room, because that's how they stimulate it in a laboratory setting. They put or lucid dreaming. They do the same thing. They put these masks on your eyes and kind of flash lights, and it can stimulate sleep paralysis and lucid dreaming, and when they study it. But for me, I it's always been, and at first I thought. So I would just feel trapped in my body, and I can kind of open my eyes a bit, just enough, and they're like twitching, because I'm fighting to keep them open, and I can see around the room a bit, just a bit. But what I realized after years of this happening, maybe a few times a year, is that what I see in the room is not actually in the room. It's not the room. Like sometimes
you're making it up.
I think it's almost like a dream state, because sometimes it'll be the wrong room. It'll like I'm at home in Encino, but I'm seeing the room back in North Carolina or something like that. And so I think probably you're in this kind of liminal state between when it's not involving entities like I have. You're in this liminal state between dream and sleep, and you're just about to wake up. But yeah, I'm fighting. My arms are twitching. It's rough.
Knees weak, arms are heavy, mom spaghetti.
It's not fun, dude. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
Because you're trying to like if I'm in bed with Danielle, it'll like she can hear me trying to like help like that,
I
and she'll
get
shake me awake.
twitchy when I sleep.
The only time it happens to me is when I try to take a nap and I have somewhere to go where I'm not supposed to go to sleep, but I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do a 30-minute nap.
That's me in the airport.
And it's like your body's like trying to nap, but it also knows it can't. So it's like that's when I've had it. Sleep paralysis only when I know I'm on a time crunch.
When I have to get up for the airport, I get the worst sleep because I'm so afraid of missing my flight.
Yeah.
Hey, have you guys had Vicky Joy Anderson on?
I don't think so.
You should have her on. It's very interesting, her research. I had her in my film to discuss her thoughts on sleep paralysis experiences, and she talked about her study that she's been doing for a very long time with dozens of people, if not hundreds, who have had sleep paralysis and documenting their experience. And she approaches it through I guess you could say, biblical spiritual lens. She believes people are having demonic experiences during these sleep paralysis events, and she has some very interesting theories about it, and it's based on the experiences that people have told her about. And she claims that the experiences people are having are changing collectively, that maybe in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, people were continuing to have these experiences with shadow people, shadow entities. But she said in recent times, specifically with younger generations who spend a lot of time online or with technology, that they are having these sleep paralysis experiences, but they're being visited by these cyborg-like digital entities, and the experiences seem to have a technological feel to it. Like Johnny said, it sometimes seems like he's not really in his room, that may be a different location. She believes their consciousness may be actually being transported, or they're phasing into a different reality where they're encountering some of these strange beings. But she believes there is a quote unquote demonic agenda behind this. Now, I'm not sure if I subscribe to that. I think it's a very interesting theory, but she cites how during the experiences at times they are very sexual. He used to have the succubus that would seduce the man, or the incubus that would seduce the woman. Well, now she believes that there is this etheric gay grooming program by entities.
Now we're in it.
Yes,
Etheric gay groomers.
Oh boy.
Etheric gay groomers that are approaching children during sleep paralysis states and initiating sexual activity or enticing them to perform different sexual acts.
Oh,
and
that got dark.
basically grooming young children be attracted to the opposite sex. And this is based on her study. This isn't me, but I just do find it very interesting that she is actually reiterating that people are having these types of experiences and the changes in the sleep paralysis experiences. As far as gay grooming interdimensional beings, I don't know. It's just a fun little tangent.
No, it's a weird little tangent
It
for
is.
sure. I think there could be something to that. You know, I don't know about the sleep paralysis part. I'm not saying it's not real. It's definitely possible. You know, so I got to watch more of that Peter Thiel interview.
Oh boy, it's wild, isn't it?
I mean, it is the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. And you have a guy whose gay lover got thrown off or fell off a balcony,
Who calls himself a Christian?
who's now calling himself a Christian and telling everybody the Orthodox Church is into transhumanism.
Yeah. Yeah, he says that they don't go far enough for Christians.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, so we're turning dicks into vaginas. That's not enough. We got to go farther. And you're like, dude, it is the craziest interview you will ever watch. And like, even the guy, I don't know if he's friends with Peter Thiel, but even he had to like go, whoa, bro. That's,
Well, he's a pretty respected journalist, kind of a somewhat right-wing guy. I can't remember.
he
his name
went,
right now.
he goes,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
whoa,
No,
whoa.
you could
bro.
tell. He was like,
whoa,
what?
whoa, you are way off the ranch on this one. And you got this guy that just sweats all the time.
He wasn't that sweaty in that interview, by
That
the way.
was
Yeah.
that was
the
just
one
gonna say
exception.
that.
Yeah.
He didn't. He must have gotten Botox or something, so he stopped sweating.
Yeah.
But you know, this guy who's gay lover, and I don't do what I don't care what adults do, but this guy I mean, every time we see someone fall off a balcony, it's very suspicious. That's why they have like the fence wall right there that you're not supposed to go over.
Do you think it's on purpose? Because I mean, we're all like kind of overreacting to it. Do you think it's theater that he's kind of like pushing it, like the narrative? Like someone must tell him, like, hey, this is a little crazy for.
No,
right
I
now.
think it's what him and that group want to do. I mean, you got Elon Musk talking about an AI God is coming. You got you know that weirdo Carp who's just like, you know, we're gonna haunt your dreams. You got Larry Ellison who is like, we're going to, you know, make sure you're on your best behavior.
Yeah.
These are the people who are all sexual deviants. Are all
funny.
telling us about being on our best behavior. But the reason I bring that up is that if it's happening here in this realm, why wouldn't it happen in the other realm?
Yeah.
Well, there's also the theory about hacking dreams, using frequencies to be able to access people's inner consciousness, subconsciousness, and dream states. And what if they can hack in there and present as an entity that is giving them information? And honestly, this could also be happening with people's psychedelic experiences. I think, you know, people like you talk about all the time in the Silicon Valley nerd dark realm that are microdosing. Who knows if they're maybe contacting some type of entities, but there's theories that they are indeed, you know, frequencies out there or some kind of exotic tech that can hack people's dreams and cause certain images and information to show up there.
I wouldn't doubt it, dude. I mean, to me, the biggest proof of God is demons, devils, and darkness. If we know we live in a yin and yang world, that's the biggest, you know, I mean, God's love and all that stuff. But, you know, if you even want to talk about with an atheist, like there's these demons, like we had that guest the other day, you know, and it was an enjoyable conversation, but his inability to look at Aleister Crowley as a dark entity is like, it's telling. But Aleister Crowley makes me believe in that there's God because he is so dark. There must be a counter to it. You know, I mean, so if we have this gay agenda happening again, I don't like, I have so many problems in my life. I don't care what adults do. As long as you're not hurting people, and particularly children, I can't control you. God gave us free will. They have chose their path, whatever. And I'm not saying anything about that. But, you know, if you think that is a sin, then they will deal with that with God. That's my opinion. And it's not going to make people happy. But I just I can't ask people to stay out of my life, the government to stay out of my life, and then micromanage other people's lives. And I do believe that there are certain groups out there, women, gays, blacks, Jews, that need to start doing some serious self-censoring. And you see it now in the black community with the black fatigue and the black conservatives.
What do you mean by like self-policing each other or themselves? Like
Okay. I mean, because the narrative is pushed that white people for the beginning through time have been racist, and there's probably something to it. I would tell you that everybody was racist.
Yes, of course.
But the white racism has been highlighted by the media in Hollywood, who runs that, and then but then there became a self-regulating, and it's like it's shunned, and now there's kind of an overreaction to it. Then now we're just talking shit about everybody, which I think is how it should be. By the way, I think there should be no protected classes, and nobody should be above criticism and comedy. And you can pass all the laws you want. It's never going to stop. It's actually going to make it worse, So there needs to be a regulation. There needs to be a regulation of the crime issue in the black community. There needs to be a regulation of the hoflation with women. and it's like, I watch Andrew Tate, and I'm not a big fan. The guy talked about this before, but, his whole thing with Bonnie Blue, that woman who set the record for most guys in one night, acting like she's achieved something, in a society built on getting money and getting pussy. It's not really an achievement, right? The only reason giving money is seen as noble is because it's taken away from you. When you give up ass, it's not really taken. You don't realize it till later, the ramifications of
it's really
that.
the men who should be commended for their sacrifice.
But
at least the guy that went last.
God bless him.
That's always what women don't understand. Is women always go, well, guys are like celebrated when they get a lot of women because they got to convince a woman to give it up, right? Like that is it's almost when you get into marriage. Why is a marriage such a big deal for a woman? Because a man decided he wanted to get married. He's giving up a certain bit of freedom in that, and it's very noble, and the family unit's very important, but the giving up of the ass is like as easy as giving away money. Right? If we're downtown in San Diego where everyone's partying, I got $100 or a chick willing to sling. It's a real debate which goes first.
Yeah.
It's a real debate. So that needs to be regulated. And you see the anti-feminism movement within women happening right now because it's been disastrous. And like Andrew Tate said, he goes, women have chosen this. We can't judge. That's the road that they've chosen because it's instant gratification and it's had disastrous effects. And before you yell at me, look at the level of mental illness. What are they saying? Like 60, 70% of women say they experience mental illness.
Really?
It's like a huge number.
Damn.
When you're younger, boys are on more medication. Why? Because they're trying to just numb them out so they sit in school and shut up. They're not meant to sit down. They're meant to run around and explore forests and stuff like that.
Totally.
So we're domesticating boys. But as you get older, women tend to have a higher level of mental illness.
Postpartum is a big one.
Postpartum, but even before that, because the feminist lie is just drilled into them.
Yeah, that's on the other side.
And then they get to the real world and they realize it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's not like,
or worse, you've left your baby making years without a baby and you realize you want one. And then that's the worst.
And now you're and it's just like, and it's crazy. And then now you're going to start seeing that with Jews, with Zionists, and you're seeing a big pushback in the Jewish community. I know I can hear Adam Green screaming at me right there, but I do see it happening.
I don't know if you guys seen it, but the Candace Owens versus 20 Feminists. She does pretty good. They all have their points where they've pushed back, but she kind of ends up winning where she's like, you're going to be sad if you want to keep pushing.
And it's just statistics bear that out.
They hate that, don't they?
They hate it. Because she's like, because in one of her points, she's like, so you're saying you'd rather have award-winning book or your kids? And she's like, look, the book was great, but the book's never going to come to my deathbed and said, thank you for doing this for me, Mom.
Yeah, the book's not going to wipe your ass when you can't like move.
And they hated when she said that. She's like, I would take my kids over the award-winning book I sold. And some of them were like, and she's like, yeah, my kids bring more happiness, plain and simple.
Here's the thing that people don't understand. This is for men and women. And it's experienced in different ways. But there comes a point around 35 years old, the phone starts ringing less and less and less and less. And it's not that people don't like you. It's not that people don't, that you're no longer important. Everyone around you, your age, their worlds get smaller. They stop leaving the house as much. They start focusing on the ones that have children, focusing on their children. The phone just doesn't ring anymore.
And then it becomes convenient only to hang out with other people who have kids because, you know, you can kind of communally
bitch about, oh, God,
and the kids can all get together. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's just the way it is.
No, we see that.
Yeah. So let's get into Skinwalker Ranch. You went out there. Yeah. What was that like?
Oh, dude, that's cool.
Man,
Johnny wants to go so bad. I know Ryan Burns is like one of my very close friends.
I want us all to go. We should. Me and XDO shoot it, and you just go out there.
I need to start looking at my calendar and going, okay, I got one weekend booked in stand-up. I got to make my money. But if I have like 3 weeks open, maybe we go somewhere weird and do something weird.
We should shoot some tinfoil hat, just productions, yeah.
And I mean, we
got the cameras here now in the studio. We can shoot anything we want.
Yeah, it was, I highly recommend you go and check it out, Sam. He has Spacewolf Research, and it is literally right next door to Skinwalker Ranch. I could stick my foot through the fence and touch the property. And we stayed there a couple of nights. What I'll say is the paranormal thing is pretty impressive. UFOs all over the place. Had some very creepy things happen. Possibly a hitchhiker follow me and my wife home. But the most concerning thing.
How did he follow you? Was he running? I mean,
no, not a hitchhiker, an entity, which you would call like a ghost hitchhiker type thing. So we're out there during the day, the first day. Ryan's just telling us some crazy stories that he's experienced, and as soon as nightfall comes, whatever the hell is shooting across the sky is happening constantly all night. It's not, there are satellites, there are planes, but a lot of the stuff, I couldn't tell you what it is. Orbs, things that shoot across the sky at an extremely high rate of speed, some that kind of just pass pretty slow and they just like floating orbs that aren't even that high. Over the mesa, they had these, what Ryan says are portals that open up. You could see this bright white light kind of manifest open, and these smaller little beads of light would shoot out of them, and then they'd close up. And this was happening constantly. We got some pretty interesting footage of that. The most concerning thing over there wasn't the UFOs or the possibility of getting eaten by a skinwalker or ghosts. It's when Ryan broke out the night vision goggles and we started to look around the areas near us, and there were people that were shining these lasers at us. It turns out these people were teams of black ops, military groups that have that area under constant surveillance. They're always out there. If you go out there, you're going to be surveyed by the military, by these black ops teams. They had these weird purple lasers they were pointing at us. You could see them moving around. And the reason is because this may not come to a surprise to you, but that entire area is mainly an exotic military weapons testing area. They use the paranormal stuff as a cover. Yes, a lot of high strangeness happens there. But I guarantee you, most of the shit that people are experiencing and seeing is our military, is these aerospace companies experimenting with everything from UFOs, nanotechnology, frequencies that can make you hallucinate, make you see things, make you sick, give you certain diseases. The nanotechnology, Ryan claims he has witnessed these nanobots form into a coyote, then shapeshift into a humanoid, and attack one of his friends by pinning him against the wall, then shapeshift back into these nano particulates. And he doesn't believe it's anything paranormal or unexplained. He thinks it's very exotic technology that they've been testing out there. So that was probably the most concerning things. But some of the stories he told me about the shit he's experienced is so extremely wild. I'll tell you a couple of the things. The first one was his security guy one evening. I think this was maybe a couple of years ago. He's out patrolling the area on the ranch, and he has these like storage units and trailers spread out across the property. And his security guy comes up on one of them, and they have these 3 guys rummaging through trash. And he is armed, so he points his firearm at him, and he tells them to freeze. And at the same time, they synchronistically all freeze and get down on all fours like canines and stare up at the dude, and they have eye shine like dogs. Oh. And security guy's like, don't fucking move, don't do anything. And at the same time, it's like they were moving in unison. They stood up and started lunging at him on all fours like dogs. He was far enough to where he was able to start unloading on them. He claims he hit them multiple times. It took them several shots to start to be deterred. But once they synchronistically turned around and started running on all fours the opposite direction, leaping over fences, multiple fences, until they were no longer visible. The craziest part about that was the next day there was police reports about 4 members of the Ute tribe that were found dead in 4 separate locations of gunshot wounds.
Whoa!
Yeah, crazy shit.
Whoa!
Well, now that suggests a supernatural explanation. Then.
That does definitely suggest a
Maybe it's a nice stew of that, of government. I mean, the government worked with aliens before.
I mean,
there are a slew of occultists out there now, not just people who want to go out there and do rituals and stupid teenagers. There are high-level military generals and entities and people that go out there to do rituals and shadow work, and Ryan facilitates his property for a lot of these people. They throw money at him, and he's like, sure, come do whatever the hell
Ryan's
you want.
Doing great.
And he has these aerospace companies, but people are doing basically satanic rituals out there all the time. And the Ute tribe is notorious for being linked with the Skinwalker, and there's a lot of stories about these members of the Ute tribe that are using sorcery, black magic, and the Skinwalker magic to affect a lot of things out there, and they're one of the primary real supernatural things that you're going to witness.
You still want to go, Johnny?
No. No, I'm out, bro.
We're going, dude.
I didn't tell you the holy water story yet.
Okay, let's hear the holy water story. I'm in.
So Ryan has this dude living on his property, just kind of fenced off on his own. And the guy is a self-proclaimed Satanist. Great. Ryan and him have his own deal going. He's renting him the property for whatever reason. Love Ryan. Ryan's actually a Christian. He's a great dude, amazing guy.
He's a great guy.
And I think he's just so nice to everyone that he'll let a Satanist stay at his place. So that's probably what's going on. And this guy's on his property.
If you're running Paranormal Disneyland, everybody's invited.
Yeah, everybody wants to go. This Satanist dude has a tent and an RV, and on top of the tent he has these lights that he claims will summon the old ones at night, and he uses them to...
not the old ones.
We don't need the old ones. We're fine without the old ones.
Yeah, if you want old ones, go to senior citizens.
We don't need any more.
So yeah, claiming to try and summon the old ones, he walks around in this red robe and hood all the time. That's all you ever see him in. He's got this weird magical staff. I mean, he looks the part for sure. There was a period of time where Ryan let him stay in his main trailer for some reason. When Ryan gets back, he finds that this Satanist dude has left sigils and markings and weird symbols all over the inside of his trailer, written in this black, unidentifiable substance. And the guy can't be found for a while to figure out how to get it off. Ryan is trying everything to get these symbols off. He's trying to wash them off with everything known to man, and they will not come off.
Oh my God.
So he's like, what do I do with this? So he goes talk to a member of the Ute tribe who's also a healer and spiritualist and medicine man. And he says, well, you know what you got to do? You got to get holy water. That's the only thing that's going to work. And he's like, bullshit. But lo and behold, they go and get some holy water from, I believe, the nearest church. And when they throw the holy water at this sigil, it burns, it like dissipates into a mist and disappears. And holy water is the only thing that got those symbols off.
Ooh.
This should be a show on Apple. I don't know why Ryan hasn't pitched that.
He's also got naked Ute women running around with medicine bags all the time.
We're going. We're going.
We're in, dude. Hoflation, dude. The paranormal was doing hoflation way before everybody else. Damn, dude. I'm telling you, man. Like, I'm usually not into that stuff. You ever hear that the Mothers of Darkness? Have you ever heard of them? We've talked. Yeah. I think we've talked briefly about them on the show before. But supposedly they have this castle, and these stupid tourists went there, and for some reason the guy's chick went and knocked on the door
To the Mothers of Darkness
castle.
Are they like Mothers Against Drunk Driving? Is that
No? They're mothers against God. They're basically like all this demonic shit, right?
No, thank you.
Yeah, if you look it up, Mothers of Darkness, they have a castle.
Great band name, but not a great group.
I want to say it's in Switzerland, but I could be wrong. But it's really dark, and this chick knocks on the door. Somebody opens the door, grabs her, closes the door, and she's never heard from again.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Why would you go knock on that door?
What's her name? Who is she?
Who?
The woman who disappeared at the Mothers of Darkness house. That's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy.
Are we looking for her? Did anybody call the police?
Yeah, I'm sure if you hey, my girlfriend's inside the Mother of Darkness castle. Can you come help me? I'm sure you hear they hang up on you right there.
I think it's in Belgium.
Oh, yeah. The Mothers of Darkness castle. Yep, that's it. Chateau des Amaris. Yeah.
Amarwa.
That'll probably be
Amarwa, maybe?
Well, maybe episode 100 we can go there?
No, we're already in.
No, episode 100 of that conspiracy. That's a whole different show. We're not going to call it tinfoil. We'd call it Sam's Adventures.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I am not going in to near the Mothers of Darkness.
Wait until you want to fake your own death, and then we'll
He just walked into the castle. We never saw him again.
Johnny's onto something. You've been trying to fake your death.
Johnny, who's this new roommate you have? Oh, that's Juan Guerreras.
You can't use my name. Pick a different name, Sam.
Okay. Oh, shit. You just gave it away.
Guerrero. Yeah, everyone knows my last name.
Okay.
What are we doing?
Maybe I'm your cousin, your fat old cousin.
Don't go Mexican right now.
Yeah, dude.
You don't go Mexican right now.
In brown face.
Yeah, don't go
Dude,
Pablo.
I think he's got makeup on. No, dude, he's just got a skin disease. He's very weird.
Vitiligo.
Vitiligo.
It's like Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy shit, dude.
That is crazy. So, real sense of danger around Skinwalker, huh? Is that right?
Well, I had an uneasy feeling the entire time, and it wasn't just because I was expecting something around the corner or because of the UFOs or anything else. It's just the energy there is dense and dark and
fake and gay.
It could be a little bit if you add in the military aspect. There's a lot of fake and gayness going on there. Yeah. But yeah, and when we left, my wife and I are best friends. We never argue. We were always it's
love, baby. Don't hurt
that's
me.
it, baby. And we were fine. But when we left there, like the entire ride home, there was this heaviness. We get home and like we're depressed for something. Never depressed. We're sad. We have all this kind of angst. We're arguing. We're like, what the hell is going on? And the only thing we can think is, I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of hitchhiker effect. I did find a rock from there that I was messing with that I had thought I'd taken out of my bag, but it was still in my bag.
Oh.
So we went and got rid of that thing and
Tracker device.
said some prayers, and it that seemed to work, because after that it seemed like energies lifted and stuff. But I don't know. It does definitely have a sense of darkness and dread, and I think there's a lot of oppression with the people around there, and a lot of experimentation, obviously, that they don't even know about. Ryan was telling me about a guy who died because he was walking along, just minding his business, and he sees this massive UFO coming along, and it's getting closer to him, and he starts running, and it starts chasing after him. So the only thing he can do is find his nearest retention pond, and he jumps in. The UFO turns on this bright-ass red light that lights up the whole area and goes swooping in almost a few feet over him, and he jumps into the retention pond. He said he can feel this immense heat from the red light that was slowly passing over him as the UFO passed over the retention pond. It slowed down to slowly pass over him with whatever this huge red light was. He gets out and his entire body is sunburned, even like underneath his clothes somehow. And a few months later, he's diagnosed with cancer and dies.
I'm not going there.
Johnny, well, if I show up, I'm dressed Russian Orthodox. I'm showing up in straight up Christian gear, dude.
We don't need to go there.
Okay, Johnny's out. Johnny's out. Johnny's no longer going to do our fun show, Tinfoil Hat on the road. TFH Road.
Okay, we'll drive by.
No, the one he really wants to do is Bledsoe's Ranch or their house or whatever.
I would like to go to North Carolina and do that for sure.
No, it's funny because it's right up his house. That's why I figured out why he wants to
it's a couple hours.
Ranch.
It's like an hour and a half down the road. Yeah, not too far.
That's the opposite side of the spectrum. That's the love and light beings, as opposed to the Skinwalker and rapey beings.
So let's get into your near-death experience that help you find God. We'll wrap it up with that.
Oh man.
Good
well,
Lord, man.
I'm gonna have to condense this because it's got a lot to it. But I really thank this experience for my understanding of everything and my reconnection with God source and Christ. This happened this past year, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you all.
Thank you.
It was 2024, and things were going good, and I was finishing up with my I was starting with my second film, but I still didn't have that real spiritual connection I wanted. I had all these considerations. I grew up Catholic, but that scared the hell out of me growing up. Fire, brimstone, crazy dogma, vengeful God stuff. But I knew there was something to it. I knew there was something there. I resonated with the teachings of Jesus Christ, but I didn't know where I fit into everything and what I should really be looking into and what I should pursue as my spiritual path, if I should even pursue anything, if I should just have these considerations, because there was so many possibilities that I considered at this time. Well, this one morning, wake up, my wife wants to go to a metaphysical fair, and usually I find those things kind of fun. But for some reason, something was just irking me about it. And we get there, and I just have this kind of nasty feeling for some reason. She wants me to get an aura photography, which is they take a picture of you, and you can see in the picture this like light shining around you. Yeah. And the psychic lady who takes a picture is supposed to interpret what the aura means. I couldn't tell you if that's all bullshit or not, but it was fun. So I decided, I'll do it. Felt very strange about it. Didn't know why. Then when it comes to the lady interpreting my aura, she says, she's telling me all these things that are kind of like ringing true. She's like, oh, you have a very powerful voice. It looks like you do something with your voice, and telling me all these other things. And she gets to above my crown chakra, and she's saying something about beliefs, and I wasn't paying attention. Somebody came up and distracted me. It was one of the friends we were with, and they were joking around. They said, how rich is he going to be? And they're like, well, I don't know, because he has no concrete beliefs. And I was like, oh shit, I kind of don't. And that really bothered me. It's kind of stuck with me. And we left, and I was pouting, and I was like, what does that mean? And this psychic lady, why is she bringing that up? Especially during this time where I'm thinking about it so much. So this was also the day that I was going to have my monthly psilocybin journey. So I thought maybe I'll get some answers going in there and speaking with the guides. And so I did. I dosed up. I made contact with Laird, and he didn't have any answers for me. It was the strangest interaction. He said, "This one's for you, bud. Have fun tonight." And that was it. I couldn't get any more conversation. And then the series of events to follow were absolutely insane. I had a friend over that evening, and usually I would just be by myself, and this friend was staying over. He was hanging out with my wife and a couple other people, and I was going to have my own little experience on the other side of the house. But that didn't work out because, my guide took off on me. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go watch TV with, some friends up there. And I just started to, what's that?
You were on shrooms.
Shrooms, yes. I started to feel uneasy. And then I go outside. One of my friends follows me, and we're having a conversation just about the business. He's a partner of the business, and we're talking about things. And above my head, I can see like a thought bubble, like in cartoons. And in that thought bubble, I see that I've lived this life thousands of times, and I could see that each time I would learn and it would refine the experience, and my life would get better each time. And I thought, catching up to now, this seems like I'm doing pretty good. And then all of a sudden, something weird took me over, and I started to get angry that the majority of the population hasn't woken up yet. And I was like, why can't everyone wake up? They're holding us back. And I just started to get very angry. And all of a sudden, my friend who was sitting there with me, he starts to talk to me, but I know it wasn't him talking, because I asked if he said these things the next day, and he said, I said nothing of the sort. No. But something took over my perception and was speaking through him. I don't know how this worked, but it said that at some point, all of that becomes a reflection of yourself. And this is something that this dude would have never said. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. And after he said that, something came over me, and he's sitting there just staring at me. And a knowing came over me that this is no longer your friend, and you are no longer in material reality. And I was like, what does this mean? The next thing comes over me, this knowing. I knew, I can't explain it. I just knew that I died. I said, this knowing came over me that I died this evening, and I am on the way to the other side. And I started to freak out because I don't know why this knowing is coming over me. And I asked my friend, I said, am I dead? And he's like, you might be. And I said, well, can I go back? He's like, if you do, you have to start all over like you've done before. And I said, what the fuck? And I'm just freaking out. He goes inside, and I follow him in, and then I'm freaking out talking to him, and he turns around, and he's like back to normal. It's him again. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude, but you might be having a bad trip. Go sit down. I go sit down, and I didn't feel right at all, man. Something like this weird knowing, like I said, it felt like I had died. And then all of a sudden, this like demon face came out of my TV, growled at me. I look over at my friend, and he is literally a corpse. He's dead, but he's talking to me. He says, all you got to do is just sit back and watch TV and enjoy everything. I freak out. I run back to my wife, and she is also, I'm perceiving her as a corpse. And she's yelling at me and all these things that very out of character for her. So I completely freak out and run outside. And the outside looked much different. It seemed like all the street lights were out. And I just knew, I said, I have died. And because I didn't have a belief, I am stuck in some sort of purgatory. So I immediately said, okay, Jesus, God, help me, something. What is going on? And then I just decided, you know what? If I'm dead And friend, wife wasn't coming outside to look for me. So I'm thinking, this is it. I've really died somehow. I don't know, but I'm going to figure this out. So I start walking through my neighborhood. Okay. And thinking to myself, I'm going to find God and I'm going to find out what the hell's going on. And so I continue to walk. And as I'm walking, I'm having a life review, a legit life review. I'm remembering almost everything in my life, and feels like it's, being shown to me in a sense that I could also experience what other people felt when I was being a dick and all of these things. It was very detailed. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a long fucking night. I keep walking, and there's this crossroads. I can take a right, and it's kind of dark down that road, or I could go straight, and it's a row of street lights. I start to walk straight, and the first street light blows out as I walk under it. And I said, okay, that may be a sign I shouldn't go this way. I turn right, and I'm walking, and I feel hopeless. I feel like I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if I'm going to find God. I'm still just believing. It's like this knowing I'm dead, and I've accepted it. I'm like, okay, I'm dead. I just got to find God. And then I just decide to lay down in the middle of the street. I'm like, maybe if I lay down here, I'll float up to heaven, angels will come get me, or I'll seep down to hell and I'll give the devil a piece of my mind and tell him how I feel. So none of these things happened. I'm just sitting there laying, and I'm looking up at the stars, and I'm like, wow, the stars are pretty beautiful here in the afterlife, especially in purgatory. You wouldn't expect this kind of beauty. And then this voice came back, and it said, even in the afterlife, it's all about perspective. And I just got up and I was like, that's very interesting. And this voice said, look for a light, but close your eyes and find it there. So I did. I closed my eyes and I'm looking for this light. And at first I don't see anything but darkness. And then I'm moving my head around and I see this light in the distance. Close my eyes. There's this light. And I said, I'm going to head that way. So I'm walking, and all of a sudden I enter this new neighborhood that I've never been in before, and the houses are really nice and looks like a pretty rich neighborhood. And I'm walking around, and I'm like, wow, this may be a different section of the afterlife. And then I just said, you know what? I'm going to have to go and knock on one of these doors, because I think maybe one of these doors will lead me to where I need to go. And this is what is just coming to my mind at this time. So I see a huge welcome sign at one of these houses at the end of the street, and it was lit up brighter than any of the other houses. It's a beautiful big white house. They had a huge white truck in the driveway. So I'm like, that's got to be it. I'm either going to ring this doorbell, and whoever's there is going to call the cops, but since this is the afterlife, they're going to bring me to hell anyway, and I'll just speak with the devil. So this is all going through my mind. It's like, or it could be an angel that answers the door, and I'll be brought to heaven. I ring the doorbell, and this beautiful blonde-haired lady answers the door, and I'm like, is this where I'm supposed to be? And she said, oh, hold on a second. She closes the door. A few minutes later, this dude answers, big burly dude, and he's got this beautiful energy about him, and he's smiling, and he's like, hey, son, can I help you? And I said, sir, I think I died. And he said, oh, really? I don't know. Let's see. Shake my hand. And I shook his hand. He's like, I don't think you died. You're here and I'm alive. So what else could it be? I was like, well, I did eat a bunch of mushrooms, but that can't be it. That I don't know. So he's like, well, son, would you like to pray with me? And I said, yes. And in my heart, I knew. I was like, this is it. This is the angel that's going to bring me to heaven. I'm still thinking I'm dead. So we get down and we start praying, and I'm crying, and it's such a beautiful experience. And he says, well, let's get you home. And I'm like, how am I supposed to do that? And then I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to wake up in the hospital on an operating table. I've been in a coma, and I'm going to pop back, and that's what this whole experience has been, a near-death experience. And I'm literally thinking this. And he's like, no, well, let's get you home. Let's get you in my truck. It's like, we're going to take your truck there? And I'm like pointing to the sky, and he's like, no, I'm going to take you home. So I was like, all right, whatever. I don't know how we're going to do that. And somehow I give him directions, punches in the GPS, and we're driving. And I was like, man, you know JC, right? I should talk about him more on the show. And he's like, yeah. And I forget the rest of the conversation. I get home and I'm like, how am I supposed to go there? I'm still thinking I'm dead. He's like, maybe just open the door and walk in. I was like, all right, I will give it a shot. So I give him the biggest hug and I go inside and there's my friend, there's my wife, and they're worried as shit and they look normal and everything's fine. And they're like, what happened? I said, I don't want to talk about it. I grabbed a bottle of wine and went down it. But here's where everything comes together again. The next day, I'm shook. I have no idea what that was all about. So I go and I'm like, I gotta find this dude. I drive directly to his house, and I don't know how because I couldn't remember how I got there the night before. I drive directly there. I knock on the door. Same beautiful blonde-haired lady answers the door. She's like, Chris, I'm so glad you're okay. And she gives me a hug. And she said, I'm not going to say his name, but my husband he's giving a sermon right now. He's a preacher. Would you like to come to the service? And I said, holy shit. I was like, yes, I would. So, man, I went there and I still didn't know what it was all about. Am I supposed to denounce everything I'm going, find Jesus and go, become a member of the church and denounce all my heathen friends and all of this stuff? And I was kind of just scared about what it all meant because it was such a profound thing that I was asking to find God. And this experience brought me to a preacher's house. So that's a big thing. I go to the church, and as soon as I sit down in the pew, I start getting what you call downloads, man. Everything starts becoming clear. The voice is like, we led you to this very moment. That first time we spoke with you during that meditation, this is what started everything, and you are right where you need to be, and your understanding will come together. And it started to come together a little bit, but now it's full circle. I had a conversation with the preacher after, and it's exactly what I was concerned about. That church and that Christian belief, along with many others, is filled with toxic dogma, and there's fear behind it. And the people in the church, I could feel their fear just behind, if they make a mistake, will I go to hell? And the doctrine that keeps them in a box and prevents them from living their life and understanding things truly. It's a destroyer of worlds, I believe. I believe dogma is one of the most toxic, parasitic things that has made itself known on the planet, and especially Abrahamic religion dogma, the dogma associated with that. And I think that's a parasite. And my understanding is that JC came along with the easiest set of understanding that anyone could have about this reality. That's your matrix keys right there, the teachings of JC. And all I needed to do is follow those teachings, and I'm okay. And yes, I do believe in the teachings of Jesus. I believe in Jesus, and I consider myself a Christian, more of a Christian mystic. But again, I really don't like labels. I consider myself a spiritual person. And the understanding I'm at now is the most comforting, beautiful thing that I have ever experienced, because first of all, I know that there is a God. I know that there's something that led me on that crazy near-death journey out there and has led me exactly right here onto Tinfoil Hat Show. So
bang,
that's
bang,
it.
pow. Chris,
Yes,
great
sir.
show, dude. That was fire.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
sir.
Do you think that maybe your trips are the reason you don't grow shrooms anymore?
Yeah, well, I don't do them anymore. I mean, after that, that was it. That was my cap.
Wrap.
I do not need them anymore. Like McKenna says, you get the message, you hang up that damn phone. I got the message. There's no need for me to continue going back.
I respect that. One more time, tell them where they can find you, Chris.
Yes, sir. Website, forbiddenknowledge.news. That's also the Forbidden Knowledge Network. You can find a bunch of other incredible podcasts that we feature. We're on all podcast platforms. We're on Rumble. We are still some of the few survivors on Rockfin. And let's see, the films. You can watch the Forbidden documentary, Occult Louisiana, right now on Tubi. and other streaming platforms, Roku, Apple, all the other ones. And Doors of Perception just came out, Amazon Prime. Super proud of this film. Working on the sequel right
Congrats,
now.
dude.
And it should be available on the free streamers within a month or so.
Well, it was a great episode. Best episode you've done so far. It was really great. And we had a great time talking to you. And I thought it was fun. And I look forward to the next one. And let's break down the episode. Okay, what do you think? What do you guys think about Chris Mathieu?
I'm not taking enough shrooms.
Or he's doing too much.
It's something.
I do think there's a correlation between him having some weird ass trips.
But if it makes you find Jesus,
He found Jesus. He knocked on the right door.
seriously, took him home.
That chick didn't go get her big husband to go thump on him.
Yeah, he's really lucky that he didn't knock on a different door. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
and get
He could
messed
have been. What was that place you were talking about where they just grabbed that person and pulled them inside and never saw them again?
Oh
castle.
yeah, the
Mothers of Darkness or something,
castle.
yeah.
Dude, how about his story about the guy shooting a dogman, and then 4 different natives were found shot to death in different places.
Wild.
That's a crazy story, dude.
It is. It truly is. Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget his reptilian girlfriend.
Yeah, that was like.
What if she she was just really sweet and he was just having a bad trip, but she's like a sweet girl?
That might be a part of it, dude.
Because you ever like sometimes my girl have a dream about like me or something. I did something bad, and then that whole next day she treats
Just
me
mad at you?
just mad at me for nothing.
And you're like, I didn't actually do anything.
Yeah. What if his girl was just like this? So sweet.
Johnny, this will help. When she goes, I had a dream last night you cheated on me. You ask her, was she hot? Was she hot?
Are you trying to get me kicked in the balls? Is that what it is?
Was she hot? I wonder if women have dreams of their guys cheating on them with ugly people. That would really piss me off.
Yeah, that would be.
I remember when I was at a hotel I was valeting at, and Kobe Bryant was there, and I'm like, if Dana called me and was like, Kobe wants to hit, I go, okay, enjoy it. I can't really hate you for. I can't really hate you for that.
No, but you're right. If my girlfriend like woke up in the morning, she's like, "You were cheating on me in my dream," and I asked, "Is she hot?" and she said, "No, she's ugly," I'd be upset.
Yeah,
Like,
then you're
that's a
both
waste-
mad
yeah.
at each other.
Have you ever had a dream where somebody else is cheating on you? By the way, girls, only women have
Yeah.
those dreams.
I've never had a dream about that.
Yeah, that's
Ever.
that's a woman dream. Totally. Like I've
Yeah.
never known a guy to have a dream like that.
I've had a dream where like
Guys dream about like fighting stuff, saving the world.
It's that Mitch Hedberg joke where he's talking about putting together a go-kart with his gym teacher from 7th grade. You know, it's weird shit like that. It's not jealousy dreams. That's just a
I don't.
Feminine.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
feature, I think.
Hey, let me tell you about the wonderful website called samtripoli.com. Go check out samtripoli.com.
I love that website.
I'm going to be in San Diego on the 18th through the 19th. The Saturday show at 9:30 will be a tinfoil hat. Xavier Guerrero, Eddie Bravo, and the one and only Johnny Woodard will be there. So grab your tickets now. Going to be a great time. Then we have Boston. We have Broadbrook, Kansas City, and after that, I believe is New Orleans. More dates to come. samtripoli.com for all my videos are on there. Every one of my videos I put out is on samtripoli.com. You don't have to go to anywhere else. Go to samtripoli.com. Check out the premium content. I'm putting out three episodes a week if I'm not super slammed, and they are deep dives into everything. Cash Daddies, talk about it, Johnny. By the way, I'm up 20%, not 10%, 20%
Nice.
my investments. Talk about Cash Daddies.
Howie turned this June around. It was a great June, and July has started off with a bang too.
Yeah, I
He's
mean, people
killing
are
it.
making money on it. He breaks down how to do everything. If you email him, he'll email you back. So go check out patreon.com/cashdaddies. And then go down. Dude, I've gotten the artwork for the next issue of Chaos Twins, and it's looking really good. Really good. Dana's going to be in it. Dana is in it. She's the thick genie. She's got a fat ass in it. It's going to be great. People love it. The Live Longer formula. We love them. Check that out, dude. If you want to get in great health, Rife Technology, sponsored Bohemian Grove. Really great guy. Help get your energy back. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, the Mineral King, Pat Meltich, one of my favorite people on planet Earth. He's gonna help you get right. I'll cure hydrogen brown gas. If you want your hydrogen, best way to get it. Harley Ray, we love them. Candles, crystals, sage, you got it. I took it in between shows. Chemical Free Body, I take it every day. It's the supplements I love. Joel Staley will get you in shape. EMF Rocks, if you're looking for Verde bags to block that dirty electricity. Prometheus website, if you're somebody who's dancing or swimming in the pool of conspiracy and you can get a decentralized website, you won't have to worry about them taking it down. Patreon, taking down your episodes. And then finally, if you love Xavier Guerrero's questions, both asked on the show and off the show, Brain Supreme, Nuke Social, all my social media is there. All of our Telegram accounts are there. And then all the audio's there. Anything else?
Don't forget Doom Scrolling.
Doom Scrolling.
Killing it. I actually love it. It's one of my new shows. I love it.
It's a great show. It's the most educational hour. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific is everywhere you watch live streams. It's all there.
Dude, it's a celebrity chat room.
It's a celebrity. Xavier shows up. All the girls go goo goo gaga. Ask him to get him pregnant.
Donut was there the other day.
Donut. First time we've ever had someone in the chat that was in a video.
Yeah.
It's the first time ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just some weird Inception shit going on.